Hello everybody, this is Tim here again, here with another video. I figured since I did the Night of the Living Dead films by George Romero, I figured I'd go ahead and do the Return of the Living Dead films. Now it's getting late October when I'm doing this video. I want to go ahead and do the first 3 Return of the Living Dead films in one video, and I want to do the terrible 4 and 5 in another video, because I'm honestly not rushing to see them after these 3, because I know they're terrible. Sorry about that, it's a little cold out here. Sometimes I like to do my videos outside. To be spontaneous, so I don't always have the same damn background all the time. But anyway, Return of the Living Dead 1 is directed by Dan O'Bannon, who also wrote Alien. He does a great job here mixing humor and horror. The best horror comedies, in my opinion, are the ones that come from the ridiculousness of how over-the-top the situation is. And this situation is hilarious. The main characters are Bert and Ernie. You get Clue Gulliger, I think is how you say his name, as Bert. And then the guy that plays Ernie, I think his name is Don Calfa. I know he was also in The Weekend at Bernie's as the hitman. He was hilarious in that. And you get Tom Matthews and James Karen as Frank and Freddy, and they're great. And all through the movie, they turn into zombies, and you get these really over-the-top like moans and cries that really seem painful. Now, obviously, Return of the Living Dead is a 4-star film. It's a classic. Anybody that knows anything about horror flicks knows Return of the Living Dead is a great film. There's really not much more I can say about Return of the Living Dead that hasn't been said. I also love the musical score here. I love the score for Return of the Living Dead, and the punk music is great. If you like punk music or like rock, you have a blast with this like old school 80s punk soundtrack. Linnea Quigley showing off her assets once again. She's got a hot body in this movie, great to look at. You got this punk gang with Miguel Nunez in the group, and he's hilarious, named Spider. Any problems with the movie? Later on in the movie, you got these 2 characters named like Chuck and Casey or whatever. They could have been killed off. They kind of stay alive through the movie for no reason whatsoever. They just kind of take up screen time. They could have died. Pretty much in the movie, you got this chemical barrel that's called trioxin, and it leaks and causes this gas which reanimates all the zombies in the graveyard because the rain soaks it into the ground. And it's really cool, just a really cool idea. And it's kind of like a quasi-sequel almost to the Romero films, because it even references the George Romero movies, and it's like those movies were based on the real story, but this is the real story. So it's hilarious. I also love the joke here that in the Romero films, the zombies could be killed by being hit in the brain, but here all they eat is the brain. I think that's hilarious. And I love the ending of this movie. It's kind of like a Tales from the Crypt type twist ending thing. They call the government, they think they're fine, they think the government's going to help, but instead the government just nukes the whole town and causes the gas to spread even further into the rain clouds from the zombies' bodies. Which is hilarious. And then you get like another zombie coming up out of a graveyard. It's a reused shot actually from earlier in the film, but it works for the cap off of the film. All in all, a great film. One of my favorite zombie films. I like this better than if I have to compare this to the Romero films, if I have to, I like this better than every Romero film after Dawn. 4 stars, obviously, for Return of the Living Dead. Any problems? I kind of wish the movie would have went on a little bit longer. I still like the nuclear bomb ending. They should keep that. But I wish the film would have went on a little bit longer so we could have seen just at least a few more of the main characters die first. And the Chuck and Casey characters should have died. They shouldn't have made it to the end, in my opinion. All in all, 4-star film, no, a classic. Return of the Living Dead 2, I used to hate this film, but then I started to kind of warm up to it because I started watching it for kind of what it is instead of comparing it directly to the first movie. It's kind of a redo of the first movie. It kind of feels like the Goonies, really. Unlike the first one, which is a horror comedy, this one's more just a straight-up comedy, and the little kid's the main star, and he's passable to okay, or okay to passable. James Karen and Tom Matthews are back as different characters that had the same exact thing happen to them. They turned into zombies once again. It's pretty funny to have them there, and I loved Tom Matthews' line in the movies like, "This whole thing seems like a dream, you, me, them." That was really funny. But they're more campy here and more over the top, and they do get a little annoying at times. They're not handled as well here. All in all, this movie just isn't handled as well. Most of the characters in this one are just kind of annoying. They should have just done like a straight-up sequel to the last movie and had it be like a worldwide epidemic of the zombies, you know, that are everywhere since the last movie, like a zombie plague that's all over the planet. Just had them going after punks in the big city and just have it be a city movie or whatever, instead of a just like a small Louisville, Kentucky movie like the first one was. I would have been fine with that. All in all, Return of the Living Dead 2, I'd give it 2.5. Judging it for what it is, it's an average B-movie zombie flick from the 80s. It's not good, but it's not horrible. There's worse ways to spend your time. Some of the comedy works. Most of it is too over the top. I like the character Doc Mandel in this. He's really funny. The guy that plays Doc is really funny. I like this actor in this movie. He has some hilarious lines where he sees a zombie and it's like somebody he used to know, and he's like, "Harvey, sorry, we ran out of a type O." That was really funny. He's funny in the movie. James Cameron, Tom Matthews, when they disappear from the movie, a little bit of the magic is gone from the film. You get to the end of the film, you find out the zombies' weakness is electrocution, which is kind of weird, but I'm fine with it ultimately. And you get a Michael Jackson Thriller zombie at the end, which I know I shouldn't laugh at, but I did anyway. I couldn't help but think it was funny. I'm a sucker for just wacky comedy like that. I thought it was funny. This one has more of a happy ending as compared to the first. All the zombies get electrocuted at the end and die, and the main, like, 4 group of characters survive. All in all, an average flick. Nothing to write home about. To go from great to average is pretty much a drop. But, yeah, all in all, it's not bad. I'd give it 2.5. I liked it a little bit better this time. Return of the Living Dead 3 is an improvement. Unlike the second one, which goes for straight comedy, this one goes for straight horror, and it's much more of a horror flick. I'd give the third one 3 stars. It's not perfect. It's kind of like a Romeo and Juliet zombie film. Some of the production looks a little bit more low budget than the first 2, but the story has much more heart to it than the second one. You get this boy and this girl. His girlfriend, he ends up turning her into a zombie because she dies, and you get some cool character moments where obviously he's distant from his dad, and he's in love with this girl, so he brings her back because he doesn't want to let her go, and they're running around the city, and his military father is looking for him, and he brings his girlfriend back with the gas. Mindy Clark does a great job as the character Julie in this film, and when she turns full-on zombie, she looks more like a vampire or a Cenobite, and she's pretty much like the hottest zombie you'll ever see. This is a much better version of Warm Bodies than the actual Warm Bodies, which is a film I don't like. Yeah, all in all, this is a 3-star film. Any kind of problems with the film? The middle goes on a little bit too long. I would have wanted just a little bit more zombie carnage, but this is more of a personal film than an all-out zombie apocalypse type flick, kind of like the first one and the second one. But you get to the end, they're at the military base again. They're wanting to turn his girlfriend into some kind of bioweapon, like Resident Evil. And he doesn't want that to happen, so he rescues her. And they're trying to escape, but he gets bit, and he decides to kill himself along with his girlfriend. They pretty much burn up alive. Kind of a predictable ending, but it works. I would have given this movie 4 stars had it ended with him not being bit and still choosing to die with his girlfriend. I think that would have gave the film more impact, in my personal opinion. But as is, it's still a good zombie film and very underrated, and I highly recommend it. It is a good zombie flick. And it's one of my favorites, honestly, just because of how creative it is. She comes back to life, and she tries to take away the pain of being dead and wanting brains by piercing herself and everything. It's just kind of a cool, like metaphor for, cutters and stuff like that. Just a cool, all-around cool idea for a zombie flick that hadn't been done yet, and still kind of hasn't been done. Yeah, good flick. Yeah, all in all, Return of the Living Dead trilogy for the first 3 movies is a good zombie trilogy I'd recommend. 4 and 5, they're terrible, and I'm going to do them in a separate video, and I'm not looking forward to them, but I'm going to review them anyway, so I'll see you guys again with the next video.